Welcome students to the class of investment analysis. Hope all of you are doing good. This is your faculty, Dr. Shweta Srivastav, Associate Professor, School of Management, BPD University. So students, this is the next part of second unit. In the previous lectures, you have studied what are the factors relevant for taking a right market decision, right instrument decision, and what type of information you should collect for taking a right investment decision. So, in all the cases, we are using the word investment. Now, let us understand the basic concepts related to investment. What are the objectives behind making an investment? What type of investment avenues do we have in a country like India? Right? So, let us understand these many topics at length. Now the question comes, what is an investment? It is an asset or time acquired to with, with the goal of generating income or appreciation. So why we have acquired that asset? For income, generating income, right? See, if I have bought one home, what will I get? I will get rent from it, so it will enhance my current income. Now, when I'm going to sell this house, what will I get? I will get capital appreciation, right? So, this is the purpose. This is a one type of investment. Now, time acquired too. Like see that so many other instruments like futures, like derivative instruments. So they basically buy time in selling and purchase. So an asset is nothing, sorry, an investment is nothing but an asset or time acquired to with the goal of either generating income or capital appreciation, right? Now, outlay of money is for income or for profit. So profit can be seen as said as capital gains, right? As I told you earlier that the difference between the price at which I have bought and the price at which I have sold would be taken as profit. The rent will be for the income. So the capital gains can be called as profit and the rent will be treated as income. So you can say the investment is nothing but the amount of money we spent for either of two reasons, either to generate income, means to enhance your current income, or to have capital gains in or to say profit, right? So what are the basic characteristics which will compulsorily be present in all type of investments? They are present, the degree may differ, but they all are present. So first is risk. See, every uh, investment opportunity is risky. Why? See, these things I'll be taking up in the forthcoming lecture at length, but I'll be explaining here in brief. So, risk is actually the variability of returns. Now, when I say return, this return can be in the name of income or capital gain. Now, I'm giving you one example. Now, I have discussed with you that I have rented my home, right? So nowadays, what will happen because of this corona pandemic? What will happen? I won't be getting means I may not get rent on time, or I may get you can say deducted amount. So even if I mean that I have invested in secure instrument, what is happening? I am not getting the income which I have expected. So this is so every instrument, even if we feel that it is secure, it carries some kind of risk. So risk actually takes place because there is a time gap between the money is invested and the return we reap. So risk depends on which factor? Time period, up to what time we have invested. So when the investment is made for longer horizons, the risk will be high. If the investment is made for smaller horizons, the risk will be less because there are so many, because in a short period of time the situations generally don't change, right? So the risk will be lesser. Now comes the credit worthiness of the issuer. The large cap companies like ITC, like HDFC, like you can say Infosys, they carry a very good image in the eyes of the investor. So if you are investing in you can say company which is high rated in CRISIL or the credit rating agencies, the risk will be lesser. Now type of instrument. So we have two types of instruments that will be further discussed in this class only. So like equity, we have, they are much more exposed to risk, but debt instruments are lesser exposed. So risk is always there because investment has a time gap. So and nobody knows what is hidden in the lap of future. So risk is there, but this degree may differ. The incidence may differ. So it all depends on few factors. Now comes the return. Every investment has some kind of return. That return can be in the name of income or capital appreciation, right? So income we can receive in the name of dividend, like in the for equity shares, coupon rate interest, like in case of debentures, or rent in real estate. So these are your current income sources. Now come to capital appreciation, the capital gains, the difference between the price invested at the time of buying and the money received at the time of selling. So that is capital appreciation. So every instrument has either income or capital appreciation or both, right? So return is always actually for this return only we invest. So risk and return are two basic characteristics of every investment opportunity. These things are part and parcel of the investment phenomena. You cannot spare with them. Now comes the marketability or saleability. Generally, all the instruments are marketable, barring few, like you can say like PPI funds or you can say FDs and all. These are not marketable, but all other investment opportunities are marketable. Now coming to liquidity. See, as I told you that return can have two phases, either income or capital appreciation, or both. So when they have increase your income, they will increase your liquidity position. So liquidity position can be either increased in the current times or can be increased in the future times. Sometimes the objective of making an investment is to meet your future cash requirements, right? So liquidity will be fulfilled either today or in the you can say at the expiry of the or the maturity of the instrument. So liquidity is always associated with the uh, instrument. Next is safety. See, whenever we are investing, we are actually saving our future or our money. If we have money, idle money in our hand, that will eventually be consumed. Moreover, if you are not investing, that money will not generate income, and because of inflationary pressures that will deteriorate in its original value, initial value also. So if you are investing, it means you are saving your money against theft, against inflationary trends, and at the same time you are saving your future also, right? So these are the basic characteristics which are associated with every type of investment opportunity, be it share or real estate or FD or anything. Now, see, whenever an investor invests money, he has certain plans in his mind. He never invests without any objective. So, the investment quantity, the investment avenue, the investment time, that all is guided by the investment objective, right? So what can be various objectives which are pursued by an investor? One is rising income. So as I gave you an example that income can be generated by dividend, by interest in debentures, by rent on real estate, even you have interest on FDs, you have interest on PF. So these all are one can be one example, one of the objective of making investment, that you want to increase your current income. Next objective is appreciation of capital. So as I told you earlier also, that appreciation of capital means that what you are gaining out of that investment, that is your actually capital gain. So this is yet another objective, like if I am have bought invested in purchasing a house or a land, I will hold it for some time and will sell it after some time. So in the meantime, what will happen, the value of my land or the value of my house will increase. So that is the what is the objective of making investment, the appreciation of capital. Now comes safety. It means I don't want to consume unnecessarily. I don't want to waste my money. I want to keep the money safe from you can say wounds, safe from theft and pilferage. So I am investing money. So safety is yet another objective. Then I said liquidity, current or future. Just like I have discussed it just now. I also work, because if you have current income, it will increase your current liquidity. If you have capital appreciation, it will improve your future liquidity. Next, hedge against inflation. See, let us understand the phenomena. If you are not investing money anywhere, I'm taking the most secure avenue, that is bank FD. So right now for a common man, the bank FD rate is somewhere around 6.5%, right? So if I have invested, say this is year 2020, and so I have invested money today in bank FD. So after 1 year, rupees 100 is invested. So what will I have after 1 year? 100, 106 rupees 50 paisa, because interest is added 6.5 rupees. So what will happen? So my money has grown to 106 rupees 50 paisa. Now I assume that the inflationary rate is say somewhere around 7%, right, or say 5%. So what will happen? My rupees 100 will automatically become 95, right? So if I have not invested my money, so what will happen to my money after 1 year? My rupees 100 will not be 100 again. That has become 95, right? And if I have invested in a bank, what it has rose to 106 rupees 50 paisa. So you mean that there is a difference of 11 rupees 50 paisa. So if I have invested, if I take real income into consideration, I again reduce my 106 rupees 50 paisa by 5 rupees, right? Because that is actually the inflationary pressure. So 5 rupees is again deducted. So what will I have? Actually my money has grown from 100 rupees to what? 102 rupees 50, 101 rupees 50 paisa. It's still I have an incremental value of 1 rupee and 50 paisa. But if I had not invested money, what would have happened? It has my money has been reduced to rupees 95 only. So this is how we can hedge against inflation. What we try to do, we try to put our investment in those areas where they are high, where the rate of return is higher than the inflationary rate. So that is what we call real rate of return, right? Because your rate is adjusted against inflation. So this is how you can protect your money from deterioration due to inflation. It is again a method of tax planning. I told you that ATC, ATD, these all are your sections which can help you in saving your taxes. So at this means they always serve twin objectives. First, it is reducing your tax liability. Secondly, what it is doing, it is actually it is forced saving. So what you are doing, you are actually securing your future or meeting one of your investment objective, you can say indirectly, right? So these are the various objectives so of making investment. I want to save tax, so I have invested in various SIPs. So these are the various objectives which can be pursued by an investor. So uh, let us sum up in these three types of objectives. This can be transaction purpose. It means I want to buy one car after 5 years. So that is transaction purpose. Or if means if I want to meet my current expenditures, like I want to pay regular fees or tuition fees to of my children. So I have what I have done. I have invested in real estate and I am taking rent from that. So that rent is utilized in making payment towards tuition. So that is your transaction purpose. Next is precautionary purpose. So I have taken you can say pension fund because I want to secure my old age. I have taken so many insurance policies. So because I don't want my family to suffer after me. So these are my precautionary purpose. I have taken health plan. So this is again my precautionary purpose. Now speculative purpose means that you are actually trading. So those brokers, those you can say like hares and all tortoise, they are all is working for your investment brokers. They actually purchase money, purchase in securities to get benefit from the market fluctuations, right? So these are your speculative purpose. Like we have deers, like the deers are you can say those who trade and get benefit from intraday trading. So they actually buy in securities not for the transaction and precautionary purpose. They just want to take advantage of price fluctuations in the security market. So this is your speculative purpose. So I have summed up the objectives which we have discussed previously in these three broad categories. Now, what are the basic modes of investment or types of investment, right? So we have two kinds of investment, like one is growth versus defensive instruments. As I told you earlier that risk is directly proportional to return. We will take this topic at length in the forthcoming lectures. This is again the part of your second unit. So growth instruments are those instruments which carry a high degree of risk, but they give you high returns. So equity or venture capital funds or up to a certain extent mutual fund are actually growth instruments. What are defensive instruments? Government bonds, FDs, LICs, they are actually defensive instruments, but they generally provide you baseline return. So the first category is growth or defensive instruments, right? So those who are risk takers, they invest in equity. Those who are are risk averse, they generally opt for FDs or government bonds, right? Next comes to financial versus physical assets. Financial assets are those assets which are traded in financial market, like your FDs, like your equity, mutual fund, debentures. These are your financial assets. Now physical assets means gold, silver, precious elements, or say land or house. These are your physical assets. So you can make investment in either financial instrument or you can buy one physical asset, like you can buy one 10 grams of gold. So these are all your physical assets. Now comes your ownership versus debt instrument. See, equity shares are ownership instruments because when you are buying a share, you are actually buying that percentage of ownership. Since you are buying the ownership of the company, you are entitled to receive profits. But what you will get the profit which is divided at the end. It means after meeting all the obligations. So that is why it is called dividend. Next is debt instrument. Debt instrument are debentures, right? It means the company is not providing you ownership or the right to participate in the decision making. Rather, it is taking loan from you. So these are debentures. So in case of debentures, you have a fixed interest rate that is known as coupon rate. So you are not entitled to receive share from profits. Rather, you will be getting fixed interest, and this fixed interest is paid out of loss also. So we have again two types of instruments. One is either ownership or debt instrument. Next is marketable versus non-marketable, like your PPF and PF and post office securities, MIS type things like non-marketable. Marketable securities are those securities which can be easily traded in the market, like equity, like mutual funds. You can easily transfer the ownership. So these are your marketable instruments. Like to say, even it is treated, it is called as that house and other things are marketable, but there are so many legal proceedings that it actually it's very tedious job. So marketable versus non-marketable securities we have. Next is maturity. So we have, it means the time horizon given to mature. One can be long term, that can be medium term. So more than 5 years is you can say long term. Between 2 to 5 years, 1 to 5 years is medium term. uh, 0 to 1 year is short term. So you can invest in any of the uh, you can say time horizon depending upon your investment objective. Now comes the issuer's credit worthiness. So you can have say like government bonds carry high degree of credit worthiness. Large cap companies carry a huge amount of goodwill in the eyes of the investors. So you have to check whether the company is good in the eyes of those credit rating agencies like ICRA, like CRISIL, like Standards and Poor, Moody's, and all. So you have to check also. So you, it is your choice, you want to invest in the new companies or small cap companies, or you want to invest in large cap companies. So these are the two other, another you can say criteria for differentiation. Now you can have tax benefits. So there are so many securities which are ELSS. It means equity linked saving schemes. They have tax benefits. It means they are tax deductible under section 80C. There are certain insurance policies which are tax deductible. So but there are other securities also which where you don't have you can say tax benefit. There are so many mutual funds where you don't have tax benefits. So there another reason for differentiating is whether you want to avail those tax benefits, tax deductions or not. So if you have saved your money up to that particular tax, you can say taxable limit, there is no point in investing in the securities which have tax benefits, because in case of securities having tax benefit, you have proper entry, you can say locking period, and you if you don't follow that locking period, you have a heavy exit or entry load. So you have to see whether you want to avail the tax benefits or not. Now these are the various investment avenues which we have for Indian investor. First is bond. See, bond is nothing but it's one kind of debt instrument. So these bonds can be either government bonds or can be corporate bonds. So the government bonds are basically, you can say they carry a fixed rate of interest that is known as coupon rate, and you may have convertible bonds, you may have non-convertible bonds. Convertible bonds are those bonds which can be converted into equity after a certain period of time. So generally people feel that these bonds are not risky, but still they face some kind of risk, like default risk, like purchasing power risk, like callability risk. So bonds are less riskier as compared to equity shares, but they are risky. So bonds are nothing but your debt instrument. Next comes the equity shares. See, these are you can say second number on the risk return ladder. So they are very much exposed to risk. So they are heavily impacted by market movements. So equity shares are basically ownership instruments. So whenever you are buying a share, you are buying ownership in the company. So you can participate in the decision making. Company cannot take any major decision without your approval. You have proper voting right. So these are the added advantages of having equity shareholding, and moreover you are also entitled to receive dividends. The dividends are the share in the profits. So equity shares are ownership instruments. Now in between equity share and debentures there is one another category known as preference share. So preference share are the type of shares which have preferential rights over interest payments. It means they are shares but they carry fixed rate of interest, right? So they are in between this continuum of bonds and equity, right? So whenever the company goes for liquidation, they will have preference over equity shares. So that is the only advantage, but still they don't carry any voting right. So moreover, since they don't carry any voting right, they cannot participate in the profit sharing. So next is mutual fund. See, mutual fund is basically new type of instrument which gained importance after demonetization. See, let us understand what mutual fund is. Mutual fund is basically a pool. See what happens previously, what is happening that persons are not interested in making investments in equity shares because of high degree of risk exposure. So you need to have proper investment advisors who can help you in protecting from yourself from market risk, and this is done by diversification. It means the simple finance rule that do not put all the eggs in one basket. So that we do by maintaining our portfolio. So we generally hire investment advisors or portfolio managers. But what happened in mutual fund? This mutual fund is actually created to serve this purpose only. So what these mutual fund companies do, they prepare a pool of equity shares, right? And a mix, they can be either mix of bonds or debt companies or equity companies. So what is happening? See, they are internally hedged. So I mean to say that there is a pool of 10 companies in that particular mutual fund, right? So 5 companies or say 6 companies may rise and 4 companies may have losses, but this loss will be compensated by the 6 companies who are making profit. So this is what we call internal hedging. So this internal hedging will give you the safer way of taking market advantage also, and at the same time it is less riskier as compared to other instruments. So it is actually a win-win situation for you. So mutual fund is yet another option, and generally mutual funds are executed in the with the help of SIPs, like systematic investment plan. So every month, if you have with the help of mutual fund, you can also have tax advantage, and you are putting in small amounts every month. So at the end of the year, say if I say I'm investing 1000 per month, so at the end of the month I have actually saved 12,000 rupees. So this is these are the advantages of investing in mutual fund. The biggest advantage is internal hedging. Now next is fixed deposits with various banks. We all know that since the rates of fixed deposits have reduced from 8, 9, 10% to 6.5% nowadays, so these options have lost their glory. Now comes the national savings certificate and national savings scheme, then people provident fund, post office schemes like MIS. So those investors who are still continuing with that old age psychology, that conservatism, so they will rather invest in these kinds of securities. So for the young age people, these are not generally opted for. So then comes the life insurance policies. So in case of life insurance policies, we have two types of policies. One is survival benefit, another is death benefit. So death benefit plans are generally term plans. So when you want to take term plan, you are basically serving your precautionary motive. You want your family members to live their life happily even after your death. So you take term plan. Survival benefit is basically serving your capital appreciation. So you are investing money and you will get that money only if you survive for that period till the time of maturity. Right. So this is your survival benefit, but the return is lesser in case of life. You can say LIC or you can say government life insurance companies. So if you are investing in life insurance policies, to try to make it in corporates, and it's not at all risky. Next comes the real estate. Real estate means you can invest in land, you can invest in buying a flat. So this is real estate. This is high time you can buy a real estate because the rates are very reasonable nowadays because of RERA and Corona pandemic and all. So real estate is one another avenue. Do you look for income plus capital appreciation, right? So now coming to foreign currency. People buy foreign currency like just to take advantage of derivatives, futures, options, and just to make their transactions. Those who are actually engaged in imports and exports, they generally make investment in foreign currencies to take advantage of market conditions. The foreign currencies also serve your speculative motive, right? Now comes the precious metals. See, you can also save in precious metals like gold, like silver. See, in the nowadays you have seen so much of rise in gold because market was actually crashed because of Corona pandemic throughout the world, right? So customer was rather so you can say very nervous, very fearful, very skeptical. So what other option the investor has, he has invested in gold. So demand of gold rised during this Corona pandemic, and so the prices. So you can see that the prices of gold has risen up to somewhere around say 50,000 rupees per 10 grams. So these are the investments in precious metals. You can buy platinum, you can buy silver, you can buy gold. We Indians have a fantasy towards buying gold. So we always buy gold to for our future generations. So you can also invest in these precious metals, right? So students, this is all for today. This is all for this class. So we'll meet again. So thank you students, and we'll come up with future topics.